Oh, voila.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the first Google Hangout for SG Careers and Job Coach. Today we're going to be talking to the sensational Claire Portis. Claire Portis is an energetic and enthusiastic life and business coach. She's helped me put solid structures and systems into my business so that I know where I'm going. But she's not only helped me in that way, she's also helped me to put more fire into my belly. Whenever I've spoken to Claire, I felt a lot more enthusiastic about what I'm doing, and I know exactly where I'm going. The reason why I wanted you guys to speak and hear her speak is because she has so much inner wisdom inside of herself, and she is embarking on her own dream career. And when you listen to her, you'll see that it is possible for you to go on your dream career, and there are no excuses, there are no challenges. She's just got on with it, and she's really just gone all the way for it. And so, on that note, I really want to hear more from Claire and more how, Claire got started and how it all began for Claire. So, Claire, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started on your own business journey.
Okay, hi. Thanks, Summer. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you very much.
Mm.
Okay, so I worked for just about 20 years in the magazine publishing industry. And after that time, during that time, I'd always managed teams. I'd worked with people. I worked with big international beauty clients. I was always working in and around people. But most importantly, the teams that I worked with, I always loved the training and the mentoring and the coaching and helping them and watching them evolve and grow as people. So fundamentally, I've always been that type of person. And after about year 20, things changed in the company. You know how structures change, people change. And I got to the point where I went, you know what, I've had enough of this. I don't want to do this anymore. And for 3 years, so this is how long it took me, for 3 years, I went through the swivel doors of our building going, I hate it. You're going, I hate it, through the swivel doors and out the other side and through the swivel doors. And it was like, at some point something had to change. Anyway, the opportunity presented itself for me for it to change, which was great. And when I first stepped away from the business, from my corporate career, I wasn't 100% sure about what I wanted to do. And I knew that I kind of focused on the things that I loved about my existing role. So I then kind of explored training, I explored mentoring, I explored coaching, I explored other jobs within the industry. But the thing that always came back to me was this inner kind of feeling that I wanted to do something that was working with people one-to-one or in groups that empowered them. And I just love seeing people fulfill their potential. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's the thing that makes me excited. It's the thing I love doing. And so what I did was I kind of did a few taster sessions, a few kind of coaching kind of workshops. I looked at opportunities to test it out. And eventually I came down with the coaching option. And what I did, I did some training as a parent coach, I did some training as a personal and business coach. And that's gradually evolved, and actually as part of the training you have to coach people, so you're thrown straight into it. And as soon as I finished my training, I very much wanted to get out there and start a business, and actually the only way to be a good coach is to actually do it.
Yes.
And so I knew from the beginning, I had a feeling about what I wanted to do, and I knew that coaching, after I done a few taster sessions, that coaching was the place that I landed. And it's just evolved from there, and every week there's a new thing to look at or to do. And it was 20 years in one career, but basically I've taken the best bits of that career and the bits I loved about that career and put that into something and retrained and got out there and done it myself. So that's kind of how I've got to where I am. But the other important thing for me was that I'm a mum. I have 3 children and a husband, and we live in London, and we have busy life with the children. Also the children were at an age where I really felt that I had really flexible hours. I had great flexible hours and stuff with the company I was with, but it still wasn't quite enough. You know, I still had to ask for permission to go to the school play. I still had to ask for permission to go to the sports day. And somehow I didn't want that. I wanted to be in control of my own destiny and in control of my own business, so that I felt happier and I felt more in control. I felt I knew where I was going, and I could do it at my own pace. So, you know, once I got out of the, you know, over the fence and out of the corporate world, retrained and started to coach, you know, I really felt that I'd found my thing. And I think everybody inside them has that thing, and it's not always clear what that thing is. And I couldn't articulate when I left what I was going to do. You know, I was like, I couldn't say it. I just knew how I wanted to feel when I went to work. Whether that was in a corporate environment or whether it was working for myself. You know, the thought work for yourself is pretty scary, and it's hard work, and there's lots of things you need to do. But the fab thing about it is that you're in control, and I love it. You know,
and you wanted that sense of control. Then you wanted that sense of control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. It was freedom. You know, I wanted to go out in a pair of jeans and a jacket. I didn't want to have to dress up in a suit. You know, I wanted to feel that if I wanted to go meet someone in a coffee shop for a meeting, then I could. Or if I wanted to go and sit and do someone in someone, that sounds wrong. Work with someone in, you know, an office, then I could. And I just wanted that flexibility, in my career. Yeah. So I've managed to get the balance right now, and but it takes time. You know, it kind of takes time, and it depends how badly you want it and how clear you are on what you want to do. And I think, you know, that's the main thing when I started. When you start out on a new career, you know, 2 years down the line, you might not always be in the same place, but that's fine. You just evolve as you go.
Well, you sound like somebody who obviously has been unhappy in their career.
Yeah.
You know exactly what it feels like. But for anybody who's watching today who currently is unhappy in their career, what advice would you give them?
Well, for me, I think you really got to ask yourself the question is, what is making me unhappy? And I'm a great believer that you shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And if you can articulate what it is that's making you unhappy, and equally, don't look at the good things about your career and say, well, actually, what do I love about my career? And what are the things that I don't like about my career? And it's kind of, you've got to name it to claim it. And I think on balance, if the things you don't like outweigh the things you do like, then it's time to start thinking about something else. But quite often, you've got to look at the whole picture, and people can feel unhappy in their career, in my experience, if there's something else amiss in their life somewhere else. So it might be that they're not spending enough time with their partner. It might be they're not spending enough time with their children. It might be that they're working long hours. It might be they're not paid enough. It might be that their health is suffering. It might. So I think when you're thinking about a career change, it's important that you don't just look at the job and the career. I think you've got to, you know, take that step back and give a helicopter view and go, actually, what's going on with everything? And what part does my career play? And which bit of that whole picture is actually making me unhappy? And actually, it could be something stressful that's happening at home or with a friend or a member of the family that is actually making your career more challenging at this point in time. And sometimes I think it's good to step back, take that view, but also ask yourself the question, well, what do I love about my career? When I started it, why did I go into it? And what is it about it I still love?
Yes.
And if you're unhappy, it's kind of really getting to the point of what about it is making me unhappy, because actually the reality is there may be things that you can tweak. Maybe you don't want to change career, maybe you just need a change of job or company or location, or you need to change your hours if you can. There might be some other tweak that you can make in the first instance that actually puts you on a even keel, so to speak. But yeah, it's really important that you get under the skin of what is actually making you happy. And it might be that it's, you know, another member of your team. It might be that your boss is an absolute nightmare. It might be that you're being asked to work on reasonable hours. It might be that you're not earning enough money. So the question is, well, what is it? And actually, is it actually a change of career I want, or is it something else? So that would be my first, and that's what I went through. And I remember, I'll be completely honest here, 2 years before I left, I was signed off with stress leave for 2 weeks, and what had happened was there's a whole build-up of things that had happened, and I just suddenly went, enough already, I'm not doing this anymore. And
Yes.
I woke up one morning and I went, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go. And I went and I cried. I was crying. I was going, and I couldn't. Once the tears started, I couldn't stop. I was going, I hate it. I don't know why I hate it. And I went to the doctor. She signed me off, and actually the best. And I've still got the booklet. I've still got the book now. And I went to what was Woolworths, no longer exists. So I went to Woolies and bought a notebook. And I bought the notebook, and it was really funny because I see this as like the beginning of my coaching career, so I worked on myself. And I wrote on page 1, why do I hate my job? And I literally just brain dumped everything. I hate this, and I hate that, and I hate her, and I hate this, and I hate doing this, and I hate it when this happens, and it makes me feel like this. And you know, and I remember writing everything down. I've still got the notebook now, and I pull it out every now and again. Think, oh God, thank God I'm not there anymore, and I'm not doing that anymore.
So you were really specific about what it is.
Yes.
That you really, really, really
Yes.
hated. Yeah.
And so the first question I asked myself was, why am I so unhappy? What do I hate about my job? And then the next question I asked myself, well, why do I feel like this? What contributing factors? And then I went on and I asked myself, well, what can I do about it? And so I wrote a whole list of things. And what was interesting was just going through that exercise alone, I felt like it brought me back into control, because my head was spinning, my mind was going rolling over, and you know, you just have what is like a snowball effect in your head, and then everything seems bad.
Yeah.
And you know, I was snappy with the kids, I was grumpy at home, you know, everything was just like, you know, I just felt that it was caving in. And you know, I'm, you know, a very upbeat, positive person.
Yes, you are.
And it actually frightened me that I felt that bad, and I thought, God, this isn't like me. This is just ridiculous that I feel like this. I've never felt like this in any situation at any point in time. And it was just a combination of factors. So I knew at that point that it was time for change, but I didn't know what that change was going to be. And it wasn't for another 18 months actually before things started to change, and I started to make plans to do other stuff. But I mean, that's a very honest kind of, you know, sharing of what I went through. But once I'd made the decision that, and I was sure about why I was unhappy and why it wasn't working for me, it made it so much easier to make the decision, right, well, now I'm going to do something about it.
Yes. And you knew exactly where you needed to go, kind of try and go next,
So I think, you know, if you are unhappy in your career, then it's really important to get under the skin of what it is, and actually to share it with other people. So if you've got a trusted friend, a coach, a family member, and just because you feel like you're going slightly mad, you know, oh, I'm just being paranoid. But the other problem was at the time is that it wasn't only me feeling like I did about work, and I thought, I don't want to be in an environment where I'm surrounded by people who aren't happy in their work. It's kind of, the other thing is I wrote, and the other question I asked myself was, how do I want to feel when I go to work? Because I think it's really important when you get out of bed in the morning that you go and do something that makes your heart sing, that you feel positive about. You know, you actually want to get up and go. You don't want to think, oh my God, I've got to go to work this morning. You've got to go, fab, I'm going to work today. And actually what I'm doing now, I luckily have found my thing, and I get up every morning and I'm thrilled to go and work with clients. I'm thrilled to go and meet someone who, you know, I know I can help.
Yes.
And that's kind of, you've got to know what you're looking for. For somebody it might be financial reward, it might be working outdoors, it might be just doing something differently. So once you know what's making you unhappy, then ask yourself, well, what would make me happy in my work? How do I want to feel when I go to work every day?
Yeah, so the clarity. Clarity is so important. Yeah.
And the things, I think a lot of people, when they're stuck in that quagmire of, oh my God, I hate it, or it's time to move on, I think they start looking for jobs. They start trawling sites of jobs. They go, I don't want to do that and do that. And actually, you've got to put all that to one side for the time being, because until you know what you truly love, believing, you know what your values are, unless you kind of create a filter through which you can put the jobs you're applying for, you say, well, does that job satisfy this on my tick list?
Yeah, how are you gonna? Yeah.
Does this give me loving people to work with, a nice environment? Whatever your wish list is, then it's important that you kind of have those filters when you're looking for a change of career,
Yes.
or a change of job, because otherwise you just you can jump from the frying pan into the fire. So
Yes.
by doing those sort of exercises, then it kind of gives you that filter where you can start to assess whether the next career move or the job change or whatever it is the right one.
Okay. So yeah. Okay then. Cool. Okay, but so what for you, or who for you is your biggest inspiration and why?
You know what? I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I was like, oh. You know what? The thing I get inspiration from is when I sit with people.
Yeah.
There's no one person or no one thing, but when I sit with people and I can see that shift and the lights go on, they go, oh my God, that's what I want to do. And then they start to take action towards making it happen, then that's what inspires me. That's the thing, right, I want to see someone else now. I want to work with somebody else and give them the opportunity to think that through and be able to create that space and hold that space where they can have those transformations and go, oh my God, that's what I want to do. You know, this isn't where I want to be. I want to make it, I want to do something different. And quite often people know they want to do something different, and I find they fall into different camps. They have a great idea, but they don't think it. They think it's just a pipe dream. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
Or they have a great idea. They know it can happen, but they're not taking action on it. And the fact is, you can have fantastic ideas. And the fear creeps in. Oh, I'm not sure I can do it, and then you start the whole, negative beliefs and the self-sabotage, and then it doesn't happen. And sometimes you've really got to. So anyway, back to the question: was what inspired? It inspires me when I'm working with people, or I see people around me who are really taking strides forward and are trying things out and stepping out of their comfort zone and doing things that they really don't feel comfortable with, or they feel new and they feel scary, but they're doing it anyway, and that's what inspires me. And I know people criticize Facebook, and some people don't like it, but there are, you get messages and you see things people are doing on that, and I feel totally inspired by that. Some people hate it and think it's Big Brother and it's all a bit, but I mean there is a lot of tuss on Facebook, but you can filter that out. But there are people who are sharing their stories in that space. The TED lectures I love. There's lots of things in there that inspire me, and it's great. I mean, I think there's inspiration in so many ways. I just think the internet is just an incredible resource for getting that inspiration. You've got to find, for you, the things that inspire you and the things that motivate you. And actually, if you're looking at something and you're inspired by something, it's telling you something about that area, that field, and it's important that you kind of cast your net wide, I think, in terms of sources of inspiration if you're at that stage where you think, well, I'm ready for a change in job, career, whatever it might be.
So the next question is, well, you're just talking about Facebook and some of the things that kind of come on there. They can be positive, and some of them can be a bit too Big Brotherish. But in terms of your energy, because I see you as someone really positive, and you've had a really, really positive influence on me, and you're so enthusiastic all the time. But how do you stop negative energy or situations getting to you?
Well, first of all, negative situations do get to me sometimes. So, I'm not, I ain't put, I just probably don't, just haven't seen that side of me yet. But it's funny, I quite often vent at source, as Mum says. You always vent at source. So I'll, like, if I'm driving someone irritated, oh, for God's sake, get out of the way, or it's kind of right, and then it's gone. And, but I think if there's something festering, it might not be. It might just be a feeling. You just feel grumpy, or you feel fed up, or you feel negative. It's you kind of, again, it's going back to that. Oh, what's that about? It might be a person, it might be a place, it might be a thing, it might be something going on at work. And once you've acknowledged it, it's kind of saying, well, and this is the thing, is that when you're feeling something, it's normally it starts with a thought. So if you're thinking something, it makes you feel a certain way and therefore behave a certain way. So they're all linked.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling something negative, then damn sure it started with a thought. There's something going on in your head. So first of all, it's to be aware what that thought is. And you know, I read a book on holiday last year called it's a part of the Secret. The next one on, called The Magic, and that talks about very much about, you know, positive thought, attitude of gratitude, calling things in because you're on the right vibrational level, all the woo-woo stuff, which I like a bit of woo-woo. Yeah. But what I noticed on holiday, I had this book on holiday with me. I was reading it, and there's exercises that you do on a daily basis, and they're fantastic. What I noticed was how negative people around me were when we were in this beautiful location by the sea in Greece, and people were sounding off about, you know, their kids irritating them, or the coaches and the instructors not doing what they should do, or the food wasn't right, and it's amazing. Actually, if you just start to observe it, how much negative energy you can be surrounded by without you even noticing. You think you're just having a conversation about, you know, something bad that's happened at work, but that's negative energy. You might be having a conversation at the water cooler, you know, about someone who's really pissed you off or whatever, and you're like, that's negative energy.
Yeah,
or it might be something, you know, you might just say, oh, my husband really pissed me off this morning. It's negative energy. And actually, you've just got to learn to check yourself and go, actually, that's not good for me. Does this thought serve me? Does this feeling serve me? Is this the thing that's going to get me out of the rut? Well, no, it isn't really. And I think for me, I mean, my mum says I was born happy. I'm just one of those upbeat people, and I'm very lucky. I have bags of energy, and because of that, I think I have got that energy to share with other people.
Yes.
And the positivity, because people always say, "Oh God, you're so positive," and I think you can I think you become more positive if you acknowledge your negative thoughts and think, right, no, I choose not to think that, or I choose not to say that. And you know, everybody likes a bit of a gossip and a chat, and gossip is the worst source of negativity.
Oh yes, definitely.
It just drags you down. It's kind of and be aware of what people around you are saying and doing. And that was one of the things that actually, when I finished my corporate career, I was surrounded by what felt like a kind of toxic energy, because everybody was being so negative, and I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear being in that environment where people were so negative. So my bit of advice would there be is surround yourself with people who lift you up. And whether that's face-to-face, whether that's online, whether it's, you know, coffee with a friend. I mean, we've all got that friend that saps the living daylights out of you, and you're like, oh, for God's sake, really? You know. But then we've all got that other friend that you can have a good laugh with and lift you up, and you can go, oh, well, shouldn't leave it so long next time.
Yes, exactly.
And it's important to get yourself in that space where you do feel that your energy levels are being lifted because of the conversation or the thought. And also, when you do have those negative thoughts, it's important to acknowledge them, but be very aware of the impact it's having on you and how you're feeling. And if it's not serving you, then you've got to bless it and let it go. You know, it's like, well, okay, I see that, I hear her or him moaning or whatever. Sometimes you just got, and I know that's not always easy for people, but I think if you just make a conscious effort to do it, and so, oh yes, I'm having a negative thought. Really not good for me, not good for my energy. And what else could I be thinking that's much more helpful? And one of the things in the magic in this book that I wrote was, it said, you know, we all got, oh, well, you know, I got up this morning and my husband didn't empty the dishwasher and he didn't put the washing on, he left his underpants in the middle of the floor, and, you know, negative. Yes. And actually what we forget to focus on is the things, the positive things, the good things that they are doing. They kind of get pushed to one side when the negative comes in, because the negative seems to dominate the space. But actually, if you push the negative out and go, right, actually, no, he did, you know, bring a nice takeaway home on Friday, or, you know, it's
try not to focus on it too much, basically.
Yeah,
exactly. So that you bring the positive in.
And if a negative environment is making you negative, then you've got to move away from it. You've got to move to a different space, or put yourself in a different space. But I know when you're stuck in a job and the same thing, or a career that you've you know, just about had enough of, and you're ready to move on, if you're feeling negative over a long period of time, then it's a pretty sure sign that it's time to think about doing something different. So trust your intuition. You know, it's trusting, and you know, I probably waited too long to get some help. I probably would have gone earlier. But in actual fact, I like the people I work with, and there was just certain things about the job I think I just got bored with. You know, I think I've had enough of this. It's time to move on and do something different. For all the reasons that I talked about before. Yeah.
So, what have been your biggest challenges in your life and career then?
Biggest challenges in life and career. So I would say the biggest challenges, you know, when I retrained as a coach, it was then, and I'd come from so I came from a corporate environment where if my computer broke down, you know, or wasn't working, helpline 5825 was the magic number, 5825, and then, you know, if my car needed servicing, you'd just wave the keys and someone would take it away. If, you know, you wanted something and booking, a restaurant booking, I had a PA at the time. It was all great and very lovely, but actually when you come out of that, I didn't miss some of that. But then you suddenly become, of your own business, the marketing director, the operations director, the tech person, and it can be slightly overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, as soon as you can get yourself in an environment where there are people with those skills, either through networking groups or, you know, online, in forums, and people to support you, then I think that's a really key thing. You know, there are so many challenges when you set up your own business, that the biggest ones for me have been certainly around the technology side, but I'm much better than I was. But it's stuff I've had to learn. Not only do you have to learn, you know, the skills of your newfound career and to practice those and hone those, it's all the other stuff that goes with it.
Yes. And
obviously it takes a while for you to build up your business to the point where you're at a stage where you can outsource it and pay someone else to do it for you. So, you know, in the beginning, it's kind of, you have to be aware that is something, but it's not something to be afraid of, because actually it's part of that learning curve that makes it so exciting. It's frustrating. And you know, a number of times I've thrown pens at the computer screen because I can't get my WordPress site to work or whatever. But it's a whole other, so many other skills that you need to learn. And I think when you change jobs, you know, of course, for the first 3 months, it's going to feel uncomfortable because everything's new.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I hear of somebody who's slipped into a new career or a new job and go, oh my God, I'm flying, it's easy as pie. It's like, you know,
no challenges at all. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I think that sense of not knowing stuff, you know, and actually sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So things don't occur to you until they're right there in front of you, and then you have to deal with them. And feeling like, oh my God, I can't do it. I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. You know. And one of the things that I feel is really important when you're changing career, or you're thinking about changing career, and you're decide you want to set up your own business, is your support networks are absolutely vital.
Yes,
and
definitely.
You know, whether you have a coach, whether you have a mentor, friends, somebody else in business, you need to mix with people who are doing what you want to do, or who have trod the path before you, so that they can say, right, no, that's a complete waste of time, try this or do this. And I think the other problem is that when people are changing career, they become very they feel like they can't share it because it might affect their existing career or their existing job. And you know, change is difficult for the person who's going through the change, but also change is difficult for the people around you. People around you don't like the change either. No. You know, because it says something about them, or they're worried that something will change about you, and that can feel uncomfortable. And it's just something to be aware of, but might need managing at some point.
I mean, you've spoken a lot about how you got to where you are today, and all your kind of, you know, different challenges and all your different kind of changes within your career. But why do you do what you do? Because it would really be great to hear
love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. That's all I can say. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love what I do. And I don't know. Just when I sat with somebody yesterday for 3 hours. We had a big kickstart session. It was a session I did with you.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was when she came, she was you know, I'm worried about this, I'm concerned about that. And you can see people unfold.
Yes.
So, and to be able to have someone come in with lots of questions about their what next in whatever area it might be, and then to go out the door feeling that they have a plan, they know where they're going, they know what they're going to do next. It's so rewarding and you've helped facilitate that transformation or that next step.
Yes.
And I think for me, that's what I love. That's where I get my energy. It's where I get my inspiration. It's where, because things like, I know a little about a lot, and because I've done corporate commercial stuff for 20 years, I've done coaching. I've trained as a parent coach. I do personal coaching. I do business coaching, and I'm a mum, and I've got 3 kids. There's so much wisdom and knowledge that I've gathered, and my own training, investing in myself, in my own training, my own development, my own evolution. It means that when someone comes in, I can always help them with stuff in some way, shape, or form, and everyone's different. Yes. Everybody needs, so therefore you've got the variety. No one person is the same. And their challenges are different, their view on life is different, their values are different, their opportunities are different, and because of that, it just makes it really varied and exciting and new. And I love nothing better than sitting with someone and helping them come up with solutions, helping them, facilitating that process so that they can move forward. And I see so many women who are stuck for whatever reason, whether it's in a career and a combination of reasons, and quite often it's a combination of reasons, there's never really one thing. And to be able to help them sort of unlock the door that takes them through to the next phase, I just find totally and utterly rewarding. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she said, do you ever get that when you say to people, I'm a life and business coach, and they go, oh, what? And they step back because they're scared of it.
Yes.
Oh they're analysing me. And that's not the case at all. I just feel that, I'm there to facilitate change, to help help shift something within that person that enables them to take a step forward or a stride forward, whatever stage they're at. And and that's what I love to do more than anything else. And it was funny, someone said to me, well, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you do? And I said, I'm not going to do anything else, I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do. There isn't anything else I want to do.
So do you feel that that's your purpose in life then, to just help facilitate people and to inspire them?
Yeah, I do. And I think, as I said earlier, it's like I was born with bags of energy, and I think what people feed off is, I've got excess energy. It's kind of, but you can have a bit of that, and that's okay. I'm happy to share that with you. And but it's all about what they need, what they want to, and understanding how to get them to that next phase, or for them to understand themselves how they can facilitate that change. I just think it's a real, I do feel that's my purpose, and I do feel that that's the thing that will, it makes me feel good, and if I feel good, then my energy's right, and then I'm passing on. If I can pass on some of my wisdom and help people see things differently, so that they can make choices and decisions about what their future entails, then that's what I feel. That's what I was here to do. Right. And it's interesting because when I was younger, when I was doing GCSEs and A levels at school, I wanted to be a doctor, and I got and I did all the sciences and everything. I got to A level and kind of got lazy and thought, God, that's too much like hard work. But we've got friends and I've got a friend who's a mature student. She's trained to be a doctor, and she said the oldest woman on her course is something like 54. It's a fast track medical program. And it's funny, I feel like I've gone full circle. So I did sciences, I didn't do medicine. I went on to do textile degree. I then went into the commercial world and learned, things there about people and how to get the best from them. And then I've kind of come full circle to that caring, supporting, nurturing, sending people on their way in the best possible way that I can. So it's funny, I feel like that bit of me's been satisfied. But I just love to see people who come in and they're not quite clear and they're not quite sure and they're not sure what to do next, to be able to walk out the door with a plan. You know,
So
right, this is what I'm going to do.
a lot of the clients that you do work with are business owners and people who, you know, have their own businesses. But you might sometimes have people who are starting their own business. But you know, if they're really hesitant at the beginning and they think, oh, Claire, you know, I'm never going to be able to do this. How am I going to do this? What piece of advice do you give to them first to help motivate them and help inspire them? Because it can be hard. It can be challenging.
Well, basically, when I try to kickstart people, I think, right, well, think it through. So I try and get them in that space. Okay, let's suspend disbelief. Let's pretend that you have no hang-ups, no baggage, no anything.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of, let's just say, right, let's just take a clean sheet of paper and go, right, let's imagine tomorrow you wake up and a miracle has happened. Okay, let's just pretend. Because if it's not reality, then let's just pretend for now. Let's just dream it. You wake up, a miracle's happened, and you're in your perfect life.
Yeah.
Your perfect life, doing what you want to do, surrounded by the people you want to be with, and, you know, doing the things you want to do on a daily basis. You're going on the holidays, you're with friends, you know, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And, you know, that includes work, it includes life, because there has to be a why behind what you're doing. There has to be, you have to understand why you're doing it, and you know, to create that vision of how it could be. And people, the thing I find people do is they push stuff aside, they analyse and push it aside before they've explored it.
Yes.
So, you know, creating a vision is very much about kind of suspending that analytical part of your brain, going, look, if it was perfect, this is what it would be. And it's amazing when you let yourself go to that space, how much comes to the surface. But, you know, when people want to start their own business, there is a fear there. They don't think they can do it. They've never done it before. Nobody in their family's ever done it before. They've never had a friend that's done it before. But get help. Your support network is the thing that is really going to get you to that point. Either find a coach to work with, a mentor, a friend, a buddy, you know, whoever it is who can help you extract those ideas. Because I think what happens as well is a lot of it gets locked in your head. A lot of it gets to the point where you can't actually articulate. You have to be able to articulate it. You have to be able to say it, or you have to feel the feeling you want to feel when you're doing what you want to do. And the other thing I think people are afraid of is when they have these thoughts, they're afraid of sharing them because someone might belittle them or go, oh, that's a stupid idea. And, you know, I've had worked with people who said, oh, my husband doesn't really believe in this, or my mum always takes the mickey out of me when I talk about this. And actually, you need to stop asking those people. You need to go and find someone who is going to hold that space for you where you can explore the idea. You need to go and work with somebody or be with somebody that goes, you know what, that's not such a stupid idea. And, you know, this is how we work through it. This is how we create the idea. But, you know, get your ideas on paper. Just no matter how daft you think it sounds, just kind of write it down. And so people say to me quite often, oh, this is going to sound stupid, but... And I go, that doesn't sound stupid at all. It sounds like what's going on in here and in your heart and what's inside you, because most people have something fighting to get out.
Yes,
they just don't know how to release it, or they don't know how to explore it. And I think that is key, actually, is that sometimes people don't know how to go about exploring an idea or how to get it out of themselves into the world. And the first thing to do, I think, is to say, well, right, talk about how you want to feel at work. And this is what I did right when I left my job. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I focused on how I wanted to feel when I was working in whatever form that was. And it was things that I wanted to feel that I was helping people. I wanted to feel I was enabling people and empowering them. I wanted to share knowledge. I wanted to brainstorm. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have a laugh. I wanted to make people laugh with people. I wanted to be able to... I'm quite practical. And you know, you get different types of coaches, but I'm quite practical, so we'll do all the thinking, say, right, okay, so what are you going to do about that then? How's that going to work? How is that going to come through? What actually are you going to do to make it happen? But you need to have that kind of safe space where you can explore the what if, you know, well, what if it was like this, and I'm not sure that would work. And I think what happens is people edit themselves before they've fully explored it. They go into edit mode. Oh, well, that's not going to work. Why not? You know, who says? Your head's saying that, but your heart is kind of tugging you one way, and your head's... So you've got to kind of take that analytical side out of it. And but important, why are you doing this? Who's this for? Is this for you? Is it for someone else? Is it for your family? You know, and why is it important to you? What is it about doing this that really will make a difference in your life? And what is the thing that will really enable you to work this through? And quite often you can't do that on your own, but you know, there's probably groups out there, and there's so much stuff online as well with, you know, exploring vocation, exploring what you want to do, and you know, there's people like you, Soma, who are out there, you know, really trying to help people and giving them an insight into there is something beyond where you are now. And it was interesting because at the time I was looking for a different career. I did consider seeing a coach, but what was really interesting was the one I spoke to was too formal, too quickly. And I got really scared, and I went, oh my God, she's too formal too quickly. And I think the other thing is people think that at the point at which they're coming up with business, they need a business plan there and then, and you don't at that point. When you're starting out, you need to just explore the what if and how it could be, and then that comes over time when you go, right, okay, so this is my idea. Who am I going to serve? You know, is it a product? Is it a service? Is it something else? And then working it up, and then eventually the business plan will fall out of that eventually. But I think you've got to get the idea, and actually you can't always come up with the ideas yourself. You have to share it with somebody. Because I've never come across anybody who did all the thinking on their own, but completely by themselves. Because different people give you different ideas of who you might be right for, or you know, how you might go about it, or where you might get help. And I think as soon as you feel confident enough to say, look, I've had this idea, what do you think? Where do you think I could go for help? Who do you think could help me? What's your idea? What sort of people do you think you would buy this? And it's kind of artistic saying it. It's funny, as soon as you start talking about it, it becomes real. It becomes more real. And you suddenly, and then once people start talking about it, it just becomes normal, rather than this dark, deep secret that you're harboring because you're in a career and you want to change. But as soon as you feel comfortable about talking to it with your trusted friends and advisors and supporters, it'll make it a lot easier.
Wow, that's really, really great advice there. Really, really beautiful. So, Claire, what to you are the three most important things in any job or career?
Okay, so I thought about this, and in any job and career, I do believe that you have to feel like you want to jump out of bed every morning and go to work. You've just got to go. You know, if you're going to change, you might as well change to something that makes your heart sing. You know, and sometimes you don't know what that is or how that looks. But I do feel that if you're going to do something, you've got to. It's almost like, what is the thing you would do every day for life if you didn't have to get paid for it? You know, if you didn't have to earn money. All your finances are taken care of for the next 10 years, let's say. What would you choose to do? You know, it's kind of an explore it. So I think you've just got to love what you do. And if you're going to make a change, don't change to something you think you should do. Think to something that you feel passionate about.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
My other thing really is to be happy in your work, and that, again, putting the filters in place when you're thinking about your next career. So what sort of people do I want to work with? What sort of environment? You know, how long do I want to spend on the tube or the train or the bus getting to work, and the car driving, you know, getting to work? And just what are the things that make you happy in your work? And actually, I think it's quite difficult when you're unhappy in your work. You go, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, or I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like. Well, what's the flip side of that? You know, what would make that, you know, something more attractive for you? So if you hate gossip in the office, then okay, so what's the flip side of that? And that makes it, I want people who share ideas and collaborate, for instance. Or it might be, I hate working in an office all day. Okay, so what might be the flip side of that? It would be, well, I'd like to be outdoors some of the time, or I'd like to be mobile, or I'd like to work from home some of the time. So if you kind of know what you don't like, well, then the flip side of that is, what do you like? Because they're the things that are going to make you happy. You've got to be happy at work. I'm not saying happy jolly, but happy in yourself and what you're doing.
Yes.
And the other thing for me, and I think that's very much what, you know, based on the career that I have, but I think, you know, feeling like you're making a difference in some way, shape or form, or you're career or your job that you do enables you to make a difference elsewhere, even if it's not day to day in your job, but feeling that you can make a difference. And you know, everybody does different things for different reasons, but they're the things that I think are important. It's definitely, you know, to want to leap out of bed every morning and love what you do, to be happy in your work, your environment, the people that you're with, and to feel that you're making a difference in some way, shape or form. And I know people, you know, that city bankers, for instance, who have, you know, suddenly decided that, you know, it's not for them, they've done enough of that, but they still need the finances to maintain the lifestyle, but they do voluntary work or something else on the side. And that's the other thing. You might have a career that isn't maybe 100% what you want right now, but maybe it's not satisfying something in you, but where else could you get the satisfaction in order to fill that bit of you that's not being fulfilled?
So something where you're actually giving back to society in a way.
Yeah, and I think there isn't. I mean, some people feel like that, and some people don't. It's not the be all and end all. But for me, I think it's important that you feel like you're making a contribution to make the planet a better place, and in some way, shape, or form.
Wow, really interesting answers. Really inspiring.
Interesting questions.
Oh, I'm glad you liked them. I have to say, it was really like interesting and just amazing listening to all that inner wisdom from you. But not just that, hearing how your journey developed and how anybody can change their career, anybody can change their job. It's just they need belief in themselves, but they also need the willpower and they need the support. What you kept on saying about the support is so important. I went and I heard somebody speak yesterday. And she kept on saying that if one of the worst toxins we have is the people around us and negativity. So, you know, it's really important to surround yourself with all those positive people who are going to help.
There's some quotes, I don't know, on my wall. I've got quotes on my wall, but you become the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You average out.
She actually used that quote yesterday. See?
It's true. If you're surrounded, you can't help but be sucked into it unless you're really resilient. And then you get outcast as the nutter of the group. Oh, she's Mrs. Positive. She's always talking. And you say no.
But what you were saying, Claire, about making sure that if you have a few situations or people who are negative, you need to almost become like you know, immune to it a little bit. That's the correct word I would use, because if you don't let it get to you as much, you become stronger as an individual.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important.
But it goes back to that thing of acknowledging your own negative thoughts, but acknowledging their negative thoughts and go, right, that's how they choose to be. But you don't have to choose to be negative. You can choose to be something different.
Yeah, you can choose to be.
Change the thought.
Yeah, just, you know, if somebody is negative, and you're always going to come across negativity, or the example that you gave about, oh, I'm a life and business coach, it's their own fear that is holding them back from understanding fully what it is that you do, because they don't want to be open to it, because there's a fear factor going on there. Or maybe they're just ignorant and they don't want to know. You know?
But you know what, I've seen that from both sides, because actually, when I first started coaching, obviously you have to be coached, and I have a coach, and when I first was working with a coach on me, it's funny, I didn't always feel comfortable sharing. It took a while before I could reveal of myself. And you know, the good thing, that's why chemistry calls with coaches are so important. If you are going to work with a coach, it's really important that you have some sort of chemistry call or discovery call, because every coach is different, and because their experience is different, their approach is different, their you know, their demeanor is different, and you've got to find the right one for you. And if you get the right one, and and trust and confidentiality are the two most important things. You have to trust them. They have to know they're holding that space for you, and you know, you have to feel like you really engage with them where you want to share stuff, you know. And sometimes you like that, and if you can't share with a coach, it's the wrong coach for you. Is what I would say, because it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel right. And I've worked with some coaches and I go, you know what, that's not quite right for me, and move on, find someone else.
Yeah, you have to find that thing.
It's find the right one, and all coaches do not come equal, they're all different.
Yeah, everybody's different, because we're all different at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was really, really lovely hearing from you, and I'm sure you'll give a lot of inspiration to the SG Careers and Job Coach community.
Yeah.
And thank you for your
yeah.
time.
You're welcome.
And,
yeah, you just got to get out there and make it happen, but it's just creating the right circumstances.
yeah,
And I would say never feel so desperate you think it can't change, because it can.
Mm-hmm.
And don't hang around long enough, because you'll always come with things. Just get out of the environment that you're in the mental space, and just try and get yourself into another environment so your thinking can change.
Yeah. And if anybody who's watching wants to find out a little bit more about Claire, then please visit her website, www.iwishican.I will. When I post this on my blog, I'll put the link up there as well.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Really, really great talking to you, Claire.
It's lovely to share with all your lovely people, and go change careers or jobs if you want to, and if not, stay where you are, but love it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.